And we're back with another episode of the Lakers' Latest podcast. This is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for joining me right here at Lakers' Latest, part of the Fan Arc Network. Truly glad to be a part of what they're doing at Fan Arc. If you could go ahead and make sure you send them some love, send them the love with a like and subscribe. And also, if you can like and subscribe here, it's greatly appreciated as I try to bring you as much Laker coverage as I can right here at Lakers Latest. And again, if you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, it gets you that latest notification on when the latest Lakers Latest gets uploaded right to YouTube just for you. And here we go with some Lakers news and information. Not a whole lot on the Lakers front for today because it's actually they're still in New York area because they're going to be playing in Brooklyn. They did have the loss on Sunday night against the Knicks. Very disappointing there. But the trade deadline is this week, so we're hoping for a flurry of activity of trades. But what are the Lakers' trade options right now? With Keon Ellis being traded to Cleveland and DeAndre Hunter being traded to Sacramento, what are some of the trade options the Lakers still have on the table? Well, one name that keeps on getting passed along is Najee Marshall of Dallas, averaging 14 points, 5 rebounds on the season. Really doing well as far as driving the basketball into the hoop, getting his shot close in, averaging over 50% on the season from the field. Still a terrible shooter from outside. Again, 30% there. That's his career average, by the way. He is a terrible shooter from the outside. So you don't want him taking threes, but he has been very efficient driving the ball in the lane. Good defender and has been creating a lot of turnovers. And again, just someone that you would like to have on the team from that aspect, as long as you're not asking him to stretch the floor. But he plays for the Dallas Mavericks. And 1 year removed from the Luka trade, I don't think Dallas is going to be trading once again with the Lakers. I find it hard to believe that they'll do it this soon. No, they'll do it somewhere down the line. But I find it hard to believe that Najee Marshall will be traded to the Lakers. He will probably be moved at some point in time here in the next week. He's one of the players that I'm keeping an eye on, but I really think that the Lakers are probably not his ultimate destination because of just the bad PR that would send to the Dallas Mavericks fans in regards to Najee Marshall if he were to be traded to the Lakers on that. But he is someone that has been mentioned quite a bit. I know that there are other players like, for instance, Matisse Thybulle as a defender coming over from Portland. Just offensively. Gives you nothing offensively. And again, you're getting another one-way player, which is obviously a problem for the Lakers because they already have too many one-way players. So even though he is a good defender, he is still, at this point in time, not able even to get in the Portland mix because they have players that are able to do more offensively than what he can do. And that's kind of disappointing for a guy who had so much promise early on in his career and where he is now as far as in his career right now in Portland. But we will see. Robert Williams III, that is also an individual, Time Lord himself, as a player, as a backup center coming off the bench. I know that his knees are always, how should I say, under very much scrutiny in regards to, how they will be handled as far as he'll probably have back-to-back games. He probably can't play those back-to-back on every occasion. They will treat him with kick gloves. They're doing it right now in Portland. They don't want to push him as far as minutes are concerned. By coming off the bench as a shot blocker and a rim runner, you could do worse. But again, it depends how much are you going to commit to him and how much you're going to get from him. That's a possibility as well. I know his name has been talked about quite a bit. I know some other names, and I'll get to some of those comments regarding some of those names that have been bandied about there. But I wanted to get you an update on some of the guys that have been talked about as far as they're concerned. DeMar DeRozan is another one from Sacramento. The next subject, I joked on NBA Observations with my friend Caleb Ponce, and we talked about possible destinations for the next individual we're talking about, and I said Sacramento because it seems like every aging guard ends up on Sacramento's roster right now. But again, DeMar DeRozan is a possibility. I think if the Lakers really want somebody to come off the bench and fill up the basketball, he could still do that. But again, another one-sided player because the defense wasn't great before and has just gotten worse. And you're asking someone that's 35, 36, in his mid 30s to go out there and defend at any decent level, and he just no longer can do that. But he can still fill it up. So his name has been talked about in Sacramento, which after the DeAndre Hunter trade is now, right now, if they don't do anything, projecting in the not too distant future to be a second tax apron team for a team that has one of the worst records in the NBA, mind you. Yeah, that's not good. They're going to have to get off some salaries. So look for DeMar DeRozan to be possibly moved by the trade deadline. I'm just not sure it'd be a great fit if it was on the Lakers, and I'm hoping that that's not the case either. I just think that with the Lakers' lack of assets, they don't have many assets outside of expiring contracts and pick swaps. It's just hard for them to go ahead and make a major trade by the deadline. I'm not going to put out of the realm of possibility, but keep an eye on Chicago as well. That's the one I think that lends a little bit more credence to what we're seeing. I'd love, well, I would say I'd love to, but I would like to see a Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu package trade come to LA. That maybe you could work itself out, although they would probably ask for the first, and I'm not sure I would do a first with both those guys. Because again, if they come on the team, it will provide the team a boost, both offensively and defensively, but I'm just not sure it's going to get you where you want them to go. That's not moving the needle far enough if you get both those guys, even though those guys are good players that are both going to be free agents in the not too distant future. So that's something you keep an eye on as well. Just wanted to go ahead and throw some trade options for you guys out there as far as right now from what I'm hearing. If I hear any more in the coming days, I will be sure and drop them. And if there's a trade that the Lakers do, I will go ahead and interrupt this regularly scheduled program to come and get you the latest news on what the trade would be for the Los Angeles Lakers. But again, we will wait and see as we head closer and closer to Thursday's deadline indeed. But one name that has already asked, and why don't they just say, okay, he didn't say specifically Shams Charania, he worded it kind of like he did with Giannis Antetokounmpo, but it looks like both sides between the Clippers and James Harden are trying to work on a trade to get him out of LA, which is kind of strange because he has been an integral part, along with Kawhi, of the team's resurgence since the start of the year. They've been playing, I think they have the best record of any team since the start of the year, and it's just amazing to see why you would want to leave that. I mean, they're back in the playoff mix. They're in the play-in mix right now, and if they continue this rate, they could challenge for a spot in 7th or 8th position by the time the season's over. But I guess that's not the part of what he wants as far as the team is concerned. So he is working with the Clippers on a trade. Why did you just say ask for a trade? Why is Giannis, okay, he asked for a trade but didn't ask for a trade. Harden has asked for a trade but didn't ask for a trade. Again, it's just ridiculous. Just say, Shams, please. Shams, you're good at what you do. Just say they asked for a trade. They asked for a trade. Just that's what you need to do. That's all you say. Just admit it. It's okay. You can say that. But it is what it is with James Harden. So James Harden is most likely headed out before the trade deadline. Where will he go? We'll have to wait and see. Is he a possibility for the Lakers? I don't think so. I think that's the last thing that the Lakers need was someone else that is a high usage point guard that cannot play defense or does not play defense, because I know that, of course, Luka Doncic gets a ton of heat from the Lakers fan base and NBA pundits on how he does not play a level of defense that they like to see. And I'm the first one to tell you, he at times does not play any defense at all. And if he applied himself a little bit more on that side of the ball, a little bit more unselfish on the other side of the ball, I think he'd make a lot of Lakers fans a lot happier. But again, this is who Luka is, and if he field a team around him, we're gonna have to make sure we get a lot of versatile individuals that are able to defend at a high level to support Luka. But again, I don't see James Harden being a Laker anytime soon, even though he is from the area. But guess he wants to leave the area. I mean, he's from LA and he wants to leave LA. So where will he end up? Early reports have possibly Cleveland. I know that in my conversation on NBA observations with Caleb Ponce, I talked about Orlando as a destination. Yeah, there's some places where he might go. So we will see what happens with James Harden. But it's very interesting to see what has laid itself out. That was kind of surprising. Came out of left field on that one. But again, if you look at his history, Bobby Marks from ESPN kind of tweeted out his timeline this decade. He has overstayed his welcome. If you look at his traded year by year by year, as far as 21, 22, 23. So he stayed with the Clippers for a little while. But again, that's something where I guess it's no longer to his liking. So we'll wait to see. But as for the Lakers themselves, they're still in New York, but they're headed to Brooklyn. And the thing I ask is, will Austin Reeves be good to go by the time the tip is coming? I mean, JJ Redick said he should be back at some point in time during the Grammy road trip. Well, the Grammy road trip ends on Tuesday in Brooklyn. He is currently, along with Bronny James, I can't forget him because people will give a shout out as far as in the comments. They are both, as of now, listed as questionable for that game in Brooklyn, but he has been listed questionable, Austin has, for the previous two games before. He is warmed up. He looked okay in New York, but I guess it was still a no-go. They decided to call it the last minute. What will happen in Brooklyn? We will have to wait and see. He is obviously very close to return. Will that return happen on Tuesday night? We will go ahead and give you the scoop on that as far as is concerned on the next Lakers Latest, unless there is an emergency Lakers Latest with a trade that is coming down the pike. And then, of course, I will drop that one as well. But yeah, great to have you here. It is, of course, Gerald Glassford from Lakers Latest. But before we head it out, wanted to go ahead and get some of your thoughts out there that you've been passing along to me. So I wanted to go ahead and read some of the comments that you guys have been talking about. Pinty, once again in Germany, he said, is talking about, on as far as out there with the Lakers and with the trade deadline. And he was constructing a trade because this is mock trade season. You could please send me your mock trades in the comments. Pinty does to a great extent. And again, I try to read through them and evaluate them best I can. He was talking about the Lakers through various means getting Day'Ron Sharpe, Haywood Highsmith, and Ochai Agbaji from a three-team trade with the Brooklyn Nets, who we see on Tuesday, and then also as well the Toronto Raptors. Somehow the Lakers are giving up a first-round, unprotected 2032 first-round pick for this. And I'm thinking to myself, because his question was, who says no? Well, the Lakers, for one, say no because you've only got one first round pick that you can trade, and getting for a guy, Day'Ron Sharpe, good hustle kid, strong kid, 6'9", undersized center, has to play the backup, can give you only limited minutes, but excellent rebounder, good defender, but he's not going to give you what you need as a starting center going forward for a first round pick. Haywood Highsmith, knee injury, out the entire season. He's coming back soon. I get that. I understand that, but he has an expiring salary. But still, his $6 million salary, I believe, thereabouts, is not worth giving up a first-round unprotected 2032 pick. And last but not least, Ochai Agbaji. He's been terrible in Toronto. Absolutely terrible. Anybody out there that's watching and listening on this, okay, if anybody's thinking about Ochai Agbaji because what they saw in Utah and then when he got traded to Toronto, there's a reason why he's not playing in Toronto. It's because you could probably shoot threes better than he can right now. He is shooting a blistering 18.5% from three this season. 18.5% from three. John Morant is beating him in a 3-point contest if they have one today. That tells you where you at with Ochai Agbaji. Ochai Agbaji is just not going to be the player that you think he is. So, yeah, that, and you want to give up a first round 2032 draft pick for that. I say no. I say no. I did want to mention Mega Driver. Good show, like always. JJ likes putting the zone defense against good 3-point shooting teams, which doesn't make sense. He started to fall in love with it in the Toronto game when he stuck to it for most of the game, and it worked. It worked quite well for him. The problem is he's gone back to it in the wrong times, and if he goes back to it, that's fine. But if you see it's not working, if you see it being beaten with outside shooting and consistent outside shooting, if you keep on giving the other team open looks and they're hitting them, you have to go back to something else. You have to go back to a drop or a man-to-man switching, just something else besides the zone. And we saw in New York that he didn't get away from it in time. And, of course, we saw Landry Shamet just light up the Lakers for 6 threes coming off the bench, in which just really was disappointing to see, as far as I'm concerned, how he didn't adjust in time. And again, I know a lot of people are still out. Their book is still out on J.J. Redick as far as whether or not we like him or don't like him, if you think he's a good coach or not coach, but that's evaluation is still going to continue with the good that he does and sometimes the questionable things he does as well. Also want to go ahead and make mention that was a great comment earlier today from Bill. Bill said, can the Lakers get Dean Wade from Cleveland? Well, that's a great question, Bill. I wanted to go ahead and give you some love. I wrote it in the comments, but I also wanted to make sure I got you covered on today's show. The only thing, Bill, he's okay, but he's slightly down over the numbers as far as what he usually is. Not as active and integral to the rotation in Cleveland as he has been in previous seasons, but he's doing not terrible, but okay, about 34% from the 3-point area. And he's doing okay as far as overall, but he is, you can see as far as the rotation is concerned, he's not as much of an integral part because he was actually a spot starter for them in certain years, but he's doing okay. So getting him would be great, but I also know that he has something very desirable to Cleveland, and that is the fact that he also has an expiring contract, about $6 million coming out the books. So I do not see Cleveland getting rid of him unless they get something in return that's really going to make it worth their while. And for a guy like that, who's not going to make a big imprint on your rotation, he would be a rotation player with the Lakers, but I don't think he's going to, I constantly use the words move the needle, but I don't think he's going to move the needle enough for what Cleveland would want back in return, especially the fact that he's going to be money off the books, which is extremely desirable to them with their cap situation deep. But that was a good question. Dean Wade, again, if Dean Wade from last season, I probably would be more interested than Dean Wade this season because it's been like an season for him. But again, that's a good call, Bill. Good call indeed. And Isaac, thanks, Gerald. These daily updates are great. Let's hope we can pull off something before the trade deadline to make this team better. I hope so. I'm in agreement with you, but this is Rob Pelinka, and he may have already laid the foundation and answered your question, probably what his maneuvers were during this last summer and what it looks like right now. He may be inclined to do so, given where the Lakers are at in the Western Conference standings, but how much he could do and what he will do remains to be seen. But I do hope something is done along the fringes, or at least along the fringes, maybe something more if possible. And I hope that that's the case. And if it is, I'll make sure I pass the word along to you guys right here at Lakers Latest. So for Gerald Glassford, that's me. Truly appreciate you joining us once again. Make sure you like and subscribe. We need to go ahead and let's get to over 200 subscribers. Come on, guys. We could push this far if we can. And if you allow me to, and if you do, I would be indebted to you for doing so. But I truly appreciate you taking the time to hear in the 411 is what's going on with the Los Angeles Lakers. And as I will try to do many days out of the week and month, I will go ahead and give you what's going on, especially this week with the trade deadline. what's going on with the Lakers right here at Lakers Latest.